I'm wondering if this is working. Is it working? That's my question. Do 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 do. Am I making this work? Is this working? I can't really tell. It says it's live, but I can't make it happen. Okay, it says you're live. So, hi. I can't see anything. Here's me on the thing. Robyn, is this working? I mean, I'm totally using this one. I think this one, can I sign into chat? Enter. This one. Hey. Wait. Love, wait. Hi. Can you hear me? I am here. I'm trying a new thing. For fancy reasons. Okay. Is it working? Okay, it's happening. It's coming. It's happening. Okay. Here's the thing. I want to do a thing. I want to talk about goals again. We did an episode of FSP about goals and how I failed my goal because I planned to fail by failing to plan. And I want to talk about an instance of when this happens in, I want to talk about the way that Sweeny Todd fails because he fails to plan because his goal is not conform. And I want to show you the ways that what happens when he fails. So in order to make these technical things happen, I did some fancy things. Okay. The first thing, background. Sweeny Todd. Sweeny Todd was a barber. He was a barber and his wife. They lived in 19th century England, kind of Dickensian London. And the justice system was corrupt. It meant that people could take personal vendettas or plans and execute them through the law by using the law in a manner that violated the law, which is something that maybe we can relate to at this very moment. So what happened was a judge who had, was corrupt and had personal motivations, convicted Sweeny, whose name that at the time was Benjamin Barker, convicted Benjamin Barker of a trumped-up charge and transported him to Australia, transported him for life. He was sent to Australia as a punishment to live there forever, away from his wife and child. So his wife was left behind in London, no husband, 1-year-old baby, and 15 years later, Benjamin Barker comes back and discovers that he meets his old landlady, and she tells him that his wife poisoned herself because the judge had attacked her, had taken advantage of her compromised position, and she had drunk poison. And the judge kind of maybe felt bad and adopted the child, whose name is Joanna. And so Benjamin Barker has changed his name to Sweeny Todd, and he decides that he has a goal to murder the judge, to get vengeance, to get revenge on the judge for having unfairly transported him to Australia just so that the judge could, take advantage of his wife. So that's the goal. And I'm going to check in again on chat and see what's doing. Good. I think things are okay. There is a delay between me and the broadcast. Not on purpose, just that's the way it is. So if I'm checking in on like how things are going and can you understand me, and you get the idea that Sweeny Todd is frustrated about the fact that the system that he lives in is corrupt and he has no control over it. And that might be a thing that we also experience. And his solution is to try to murder the judge. So he sets this goal for himself. It is soon. Now, the criteria for a goal that will make you feel like you have control over a situation. Thank you, Robyn, for saying that it's all good. We can empathize with his position of frustration for the thing. Okay, so the criteria for a good goal: soon, certain, specific, concrete, positive, and personal. He wants to murder the judge. He wants to do it soon as possible, as soon as he has access to the judge. Certain, he feels like this is a thing that he can do. I mean, one of the first things that he does in the show is talk to his razor blades and tell them, "You'll soon drip precious rubies." He feels like, I've got these razor blades. I'm a barber. I can just have him come here and that's it. Has he fully realized a plan? No. About how to get, no. It's mostly Mrs. Lovett who does the planning of like, hey, let's go to this street barber and do like a big kind of competition thing. So we'll advertise that we're here and then people will come and, we'll involve Beetle Bailey so that Beetle Bailey will tell the judge specifically to come here. Most of that plan of the positive, because I know I can do it because I've got this plan of how I'm going to do it, comes from Mrs. Lovett. And we'll talk about the role of Mrs. Lovett more soon. So soon, certain, specific, concrete. It's concrete. He wants to murder the judge. Positive. He wants to murder the judge. He doesn't want to avoid the judge. He's doing a thing that is taking action. And personal. It's personal for him because he wants vengeance. Is vengeance a valid or helpful goal that's going to move him along? Yeah, most people just remember the pies. Yes, Christine. Hi, it's nice to see you're here again. Robyn, women's unpaid labor making men's goals come to fruition is true. And that does happen, but it's more complicated than that. So I think that it's important for us here now, if we're using art as a model for understanding our own feelings, which is a thing we can do, that will help soothe us and feel like, yes, I've been there too. We participate in art that tells us, yeah, this is the same thing that I've been doing. So, in order to do that, I think we need to make it clear that the situation Sweeny is in is not just, I'm a crazy, vengeful murderer. He has motivation that comes from a corrupt political system, a corrupt judicial system, That is a thing that was genuinely real in 19th century England, is a thing that is true even now. Yeah. Oh, Elaine, don't remember being upset the movie didn't include my favorite song from the musical. There are several things missing from the musical. I can't think of. What was your favorite one that was missing? Christine is someone who's hadn't seen her that much. Yeah, Helena Bonham Carter was like amazing. Yeah. The musical or the movie version? I know you're asking, Elaine, but I'm going to tell you that I like both for different reasons, and I think that they each are ideal for their own media. So on stage, the theatrical version is better. But for a movie, I think the choices Tim Burton made were good ones. Yeah. But let's talk about the moment when Sweeney's got the judge in his barber chair. He is like enjoying this opportunity to make his goal come true. And he is about to kill the judge, and he's interrupted, and the judge leaves. And it doesn't really matter why. Right now, we're just talking about the fact that he failed his goal. And the judge specifically says that he's never coming back. That, like, enjoy the customers that you have because I'm not going to be your customer ever again. And so he's gone, and he's never coming again, which in Sweeney's words. So here he is, having been abused by this corrupt system and thinking that he's going to get his revenge now. And that goal, which has been his whole goal for a good more than a third of the show so far, is taken out from under his feet. So how dare you answer a question on this live that is very much your and me. Sorry. Very funny, thank you. Okay, so how does that feel in the moment that that your vengeance is taken away from you? Well, in the book, we identify an emotion that we call foop, and we came up with the word foop before Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt came out, and they used foop as a funny word for other things. But we, Emily, made up the word foop to describe this moment when your little monitor, the part of your brain that is keeping track of your goal, how much effort you're making towards that goal, and how much progress you're making. And the ratio between progress and effort, the little monitor has a real opinion about what that ratio should be. And if you make very little effort and a whole lot of progress, that's awesome. It's like, you get all the green lights and it feels really good. But what happened to Sweeny is that he made all of the effort, and all of a sudden his progress is stopped. And it puts him in this state of foop, which is the, oh yeah. Hi, Trina. Yeah, you don't need to watch the thing. All you need to know is that he's suffering from having been abused by a corrupt system. And his little monitor, the discrepancy, increasing, reducing feedback loop, part of your mind that keeps track of your goals, his has discovered, oh my God, this is unachievable. And when your little monitor discovers that a goal is unachievable, it drops you into a pit of despair. The more effort with the less progress, the more frustrated you get, the more angry, the more full of rage, until your assessment of the goal flips from achievable to unachievable, and that's when you flip into the state of hopeless, helpless despair. Hopeless, helpless despair is a terrible state to be in, but a lot of times you end up in this foop state, which is the oscillation between hopeless, helpless despair and frustrated rage. Frustrated rage, hopeless, helpless despair. I think Kiss Me is your favorite song, Elaine? Wow. I never liked Kiss Me because it's written in a part of the soprano range that I do not Stephen Sondheim very well knew was not going to sound lovely. It was going to sound shrill and agitated, and I don't love it. Unrelated though. But I get it's beautiful. Like, Kiss Me is so fun and silly. I have feelings about how he portrays Joanna. Feelings. Okay, so Foop, the oscillation between frustrated rage and hopeless, helpless despair. And he does it in this one song. There's this song that's called Epiphany. Now I'm going to do a fancy thing right here. And I'm going to switch from having me on the screen to having a score on the screen. And y'all will have to tell me if you can see, and I will check to double check that you can see my OnScore. It's an app I have on my phone, on my laptop, to turn PDFs into usable, markable scores. And, oh, good, you can. Okay, good. It's like a 30-second delay. So I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to show you the score, and I'm going to mark some stuff in the score that will show you what I mean about the frustrated rage and the hopeless, helpless despair. Here we go. First, I need I'm going to play some recording. Legally, great. If you see folders, that's perfect. I'm going to play some recording of Josh Groban as Sweeny Todd. Josh Groban is the most classically trained singer whose voice fits the range for this. So his performance is the most accurate to the score. What? No, that's not what I wanted to happen. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Chugga, 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 chugga. That's this here. How fast it moves, how much black is on the page, how many notes. It changes tempo here. It changes, the texture changes. And hold on, I'm going to pause this so I can point out the things. So what you just heard was this chugga 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 chugga, all those 18th notes. That's double speed version of this. This here, I'll circle it in red. This here, wonk. Come on now. Yeah, I want that red pencil. Oh, here we go. This here. Doot, 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 doot. When he first, I had him. He was there beneath my hand. That doot, 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 doot is this exact same thing, but before it was half the speed. Now it's double the speed. Chugga, 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 chugga. Now think about the actual experience of frustrated rage and what it feels like in your body. Is your heart beating fast or slow? Is your breath coming fast or slow? Is it deep or shallow? Do you feel like moving and doing a thing, or do you feel like doing nothing? I think we can all agree that frustrated rage feels like a fight state. So you want to get up and move, your heart is pounding. That feeling of fastness is what Stephen Sondheim is doing here. Now there's other chromatic and pitch stuff that he's doing that's a little bit more sophisticated, nuanced, that I'm not going to talk about right now. But what you need to know is he's gone from chaga, 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 agitato to chaga, 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 feroce, fierce. So from agitated to fierce, or, fervor, with fervor. And then he gets to people who are filled with shit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it. Wah, 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 wah. But not for long. That is when he goes from, I'm having all these feelings, to, this is what I'm going to do. I'm planning on doing this. And what is his plan? His plan is they all deserve to die. And it starts on this note here, which is right in the middle of the staff, which you don't need to know names of pitches. I just want you to notice that it starts in the middle of the staff and goes to the, like, below the staff. So it goes from like the kind of middle of his range to the bottom of his range, which is a useful way of having this notation on this page. It's really great. And all of this happens low in his range, right below the staff. The staff is this set of 5 lines, by the way. So the fact that this note is like, they had to draw an extra line for that note to show up, that means it's below the staff. And that means it's going to be low for him to sing. It's part of, it's a low note. And then we go to the 2 kinds of men and only 2. And this is just him being frustrated. Like, you see all these fast moving notes. Every beat is filled in so that every syllable is like fast moving. It goes from below the staff to the very top space inside the staff. And that's the highest note that we have so far. And the next time we get to "We all deserve to die" at the top of the next page, the previous time we did that, we were starting on this note here. So this second time, we are starting on a note that is another line higher, right? We were on B and now we're on D. We know the alphabet is A, B, C, D. We've gone from B to D. That is higher. And now we're starting on a higher pitch. And this time we don't go all the way below the staff. Now we are just at the bottom of the staff. And then the last time, well, this third time we sing, "We all deserve to die." Now he's on the top line of the staff. So he's gone from "We all deserve to die" to "We all deserve to die" to "We all deserve to die," right? So it's escalating. It's getting higher and more desperate the whole time. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that Stephen Sondheim has very clearly given us melodic information about the state of his mind. It's higher and more desperate every single time until here. Now we have, instead of wonk, 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 crazy rhythm, to one single chord that just is held there, and these accented chords, chop, 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 chop. And then this notation from Stephen Sondheim, keening, in case that's too small for you. Keening. Now, if you're a singer and you see the word keening in your score, you're not just going to change the pitches you sing, you're going to change the tone that you use. It's going to have more forward, ringy placement. It's going to sound more desperate. It's not going to be warm and rich. It's going to be edgy and desperate sounding. And here, so we were in, let's go back to the beginning and I'll show you. Our meter is 4/4, which means basically groups of 2 divided into groups of 2, right? So kind of march-like, but agitato. So 1 and 2 and there's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4. That's, kind of default pop song thing. When we turn the page and he's keening, we are in 3, triple meter. There are lots of reasons composers change meters. One of the reasons, the most universal broad one, is that we have changed how the music feels. You want to change the overall affect. And the words here are, "I'll never see Joanna, no, I'll never hug my girl to me." Cantabile means in a singing way. So instead of "I'll never see Joanna," like not percussive, but it's not just an articulation marking of like how short or accented it should be. It's the way the breath comes out as you express the line. It's really consistent and smooth. You connect your consonants to your vowels. This is, and it has a crescendo, which means it's going to get louder gradually until it reaches double F, which is super loud, extra bonus loud, so that he's basically shouting all of this that's going to follow, that he's back to 4/4. Well, in 3/2, we've got this huge change. And what is this? You know what it is. This was the frustrated rage. And over here is the hopeless, helpless No, I'm wrong. Over here, after the keening, this is the hopeless, helpless despair. It's keening, it's cantabile, it's in 3. Look at the direction of the musical line, all descending, 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 because we're going down into the pit of despair. Whereas on the previous page, look, it's all like the same note, the same 2 or 3 notes. It just like oscillates down in the bottom. And then we get this all deserve to die down into the pit. And this never see Joanna, no, I'll never see baby, over and over again, down, down, down. And then we go back into 4. Okay, so I'm going to play some of this and erase a bunch of my crap so that you can actually see notes and things and see how effectively Sondheim made this change and what it actually sounds like when the change happens. Here we go. Up, up, up. Proper place. There's our high note. Slightly higher version of it. In the low notes. High. Oh, Josh Groban, gorgeous. That's in the 3. Everything changes. The tempo's different. The accompaniment texture's different. Look at all this empty space. Look at that. Dolce, cantabile. This is the most important thing I've seen that I have never heard a performer actually execute. Hold on. That's the most important thing I've never actually seen a performer execute. Oh, hi. No. Oh my God, you can't. Okay, hold on. I think I know why. I think I can fix it. Sorry. But I can fix it. I know I can. Because here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. JG is my source. Audio capture. Capture audio. I didn't do that before. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm going to check quickly and make sure now you can hear it. Hi, I'm so sorry about that. This is me trying to do fancy special thing because I think it really matters when the thing happens. Okay, so here we go again. This is Josh.
Did I wait? You told me to wait. Now he'll never come again. There's a hole in the world like a great black pit, and it's filled with people who are filled with shit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it. But not for long. They all deserve to die. Tell you why, Mrs. Lovett, tell you why.
Yay!
Because in all of the whole human race, Mrs. Lovett, there are 2 kinds of men and only 2. There's the one staying put in his proper place, and the ones with his foot in the other one's face. Look at me, Mrs. Lovett, look at you. No, we all deserve to die.
Yeah, okay. So you can hear okay, great. You can hear when I was talking about how the melody changes and how the different high notes happen. I also want to say, when we get to this very high note where I made all these underlines and stuff, this all deserve to die. That sounds like a very special note, especially when Josh Groban sings it, because he has a beautiful voice, but he has a baritone. All of these low notes are very, very easy for him. Down below the staff, no problem. A note at the top of the staff is extremely high for a bass baritone like Josh Groban. And Sondheim knew that. He intentionally made this a note that was going to be difficult to sing. Now, Josh Groban makes it maybe a little too beautiful because He's supposed to be losing his bananas, and when Josh Groban sings this, it sounds gorgeous. So that then when he sings I'll Never See Joanna, we don't get as much contrast as maybe we would want to. I think you get more contrast actually from, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Johnny Depp. And Johnny, my guy, is not a singer. He has no training. I mean, when I say he has no training, what I mean is he got a vocal coach to prepare for this and this only. I'm making sure that audio capture is turned on, and it was not turned on. So now you should be able to hear. I'm going to start playing this, and I'll check back immediately to see if you can hear it. Okay. They all deserve to die. Here we go. Show us, Johnny.
There's a hole in the world like a great black pit, and it's filled with people who are filled with shit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it. But not for long.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's address
They all deserve to die.
Yeah.
Tell you why, Mrs. Lovitz, tell you why. Because in all...
Yeah. Johnny Depp is a problematic. That is true. But he did kind of make this role most famous. Like, I think Stephen Sondheim, Christine, to your point, Stephen Sondheim does care about what singers can and cannot do. He wanted to make something difficult to do because in that moment, he wanted it to be hard to sing. He wanted it to sound like this dude is at the edge, is at his breaking point. And I think it doesn't sound like a breaking point when Josh Groban does it because it's beautiful. And when Johnny does it, like, we can all agree that with problematic people, but like just for illustrative purposes of this alone, when we talk about, oh my God, what is this feeling? What does foop sound like? What does it look like? And how did Stephen Sondheim embody it in his actual music? So all that set aside, this is what it sounds like when someone who is not trained to make a thing sound so beautiful does it.
All of the whole human race, Mrs. Lovett. There are two kinds of men and only two.
Over, up.
There's the one staying put in his proper place, and the one with his foot in the other one's face. Look at me, Mrs. Lovett, look at you. No, we all deserve to die. Even you, Mrs. Lovett, even I. Because the lives of the wicked should be made brief for the rest of it.
Yeah, and so Johnny Depp can't sing high notes, so instead of going to the high notes, he kind of turns it into a growl, which is a technique that non-singers can do, and also truly, really, the thing that Stephen Sondheim would have wanted. He wants it to sound like, I can't hit this note, I can't hit it. Because when you are in foop, when you are in a state of desperate despair, you are not beautifully supporting your tone, right? You're feeling like, "Ngah."
As death will be a relief, we all deserve to die.
So even he goes, all deserve, and it's not the desperate, I don't think it's as bad as Stephen Sondheim would have liked it to be. But I think we can all relate to like the, scream shouting. Can we watch? Now, I'm going to compare. There's only one more comparison. And it's George Hearn from 1982. He was the second person to play Johnny Depp, to play Sweeny Todd. Len Cariou premiered as it, and George Hearn I think is better. Yeah. So here's his version of it, and I think the reason I saved this for last, of course, is because I think it's the one that most demonstrates the intense rage. Like, his voice sounds the way I think the score looks like it should. You! It's so fast! It's so fast! He does it so fast! Okay. High note. High note. Squeezing out the high note. He's also doing the thing where he kind of like half speaks, half growls. And, you know, he's taking his voice past, like when we talked about Stronger Than the Fire. This is a well-trained singer taking his voice past the point where he's doing careful, healthy things with it on purpose. He's making his voice sound ugly and desperate because it suits the feeling. Half note, high note. So Josh Groban's "We All Deserve" sounded beautiful. And when George Hearn does it, it does not sound beautiful. I'm just going to confirm that y'all can hear George Hearn right now. Okay, you can't hear George Hearn. Okay, I'm going to go back and make sure you can hear George Hearn. Hold on. I think I'm fixing it. Audio capture. Bless my soul. Sorry. I got it fixed. I'm figuring out. I want to do fancy thing because I feel like if you're going to talk about the emotion of frustration because your goal was foiled, I think you need to hear George Hearn sing about how we all deserve to die. I just think that this is an SSA.
Because in all of the whole human race, Mrs. Lovett, there are two kinds of men and only two. There's the one staying put in his proper place and the one with his foot in the other one's face. Look at me, Mrs. Lovett, look at you. No, we all deserve to die. Tell you why, Mrs. Lovett, tell you why. Because the lives of the wicked should be made brief. For the rest of us, death will be a relief. We all deserve to die. And I'll never see Joanna. No, I'll never hug my girl to me.
Yeah, George Hearn, I think, does it right. He goes so far to the pit of despair. And he goes so far to the rage, and he lets his voice become ugly. Now, when Josh Groban does this on stage, I'm sure that he probably lets his voice do a little bit of extra things, but for like the cast recording, he kept every note gorgeous so that when he gets to I'll never see Joanna, he
They all deserve to die. Tell you why, Mrs. Lovett, tell you why. Because in all of the whole human race, Mrs. Lovett, there are two kinds of men and only two. There's the one staying put in his proper place, and the ones with his foot in the other one's face. Look at me, Mrs. Lovett, look at you. No, we all deserve to die. Even you, Mrs. Lovett, even I. Because the lives of the wicked should be made brief. For the rest of us, death will be a relief. We all deserve to die. And I'll never see Joanna. No, I'll never hug my girl to me. Finished. All right, you, sir. How about a shave? Come in, visit your good friend Sweeny. You, sir, too, sir, welcome to the grave. I will have vengeance. I will have salvation. Who, sir? You, sir? No one's in the chair. Come on, come on. Sweeney's waiting. I want you bleeders. You, sir. Anybody. Gentlemen, now don't be shy.
Okay. I don't get Dolce and Keening from Josh Groban there. Even though his recording is the most beautiful, I don't get that. Yeah. Can you hear me also? Oh! I know why. Hold on. No, the audio input is on. The audio input is on. So you should be able to hear me. No? Damn. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, great. Sorry. So I think Josh Groban's, the beauty with which he sings it is, even though he sings it with such beauty, I don't think that when he gets to Dolce Cantabile, that he sings it Dolce Cantabile. And I'm so sorry. I think the one who gets the closest to Dolce Cantabile is Johnny Depp. I know, it's gross. But, you know, that's the thing. So, like, can we just see what Johnny Depp does? Because he's a problematic. He's not a singer. We don't love the whole portrayal. But this one demonstration of when he switches between rage and despair, maybe because we get to see him up close, it feels stronger. It feels more like a very strong transition, is what I mean.
We all deserve to die.
This is high.
Never see Joanna. No, I'll never hug my girl to me. Finished!
This is like the first time in the whole show that he has sung legato with real smoothness and connectedness. So in the context of his performance, it really, you can feel the shift, not just the meter change and the dynamic change and the change in the melody, but the change in his articulation is really compelling. So when he does it even the second time.
All right, you, sir, how about a shave?
For the record, I don't like the way Tim Burton filmed this. I think that he does a lot of filmy things, a lot of I'm a movie maker things, then he could have just relied on a performance from an actor and the quality of the score to tell this story. But instead he does all this like I'm a filmmaker movie stuff. It's very cinematic and I think it's unnecessary, but there it is.
Come and visit your good friend Sweeny. You, sir, too, sir. Welcome to the grave. I will have vengeance. I will have salvation. You, sir.
When he goes to I will have vengeance.
Welcome to
remember that as marked Dolce Cantabile.
the grave. I will have vengeance. I will have salvation.
He even does the crescendo as it was marked. And here is George. George does not do what was marked in the score. George does not do Dolce Cantabile. So when he switches to hopeless, helpless despair, he's paying more attention to the thought than he is to the feeling. The word and the
All right,
music.
you, sir, how about a shave? Come and visit your good friend Sweeny. You, sir, welcome to the grave. I will have vengeance. I will have salvation. Who, sir?
Yeah. George Hearn is too busy doing business and blocking. Again, it's like the Tim Burton thing. Like the staging kind of gets in the way of like the detail of singing the song. But you can see what I'm talking about with Foop. With the frustrated rage and the hopeless, helpless despair and going back and forth in between the two. And I think we need to find out what actually happens
You,
next
sir,
and George comes
no
the one to
in
tell
the
us.
chair. Come on. Sweeney's waiting. I want you bleeders. You, sir, anybody, gentlemen, now don't be shy. Not one
Literally
man.
screaming.
No, nor 10 men. No, 100.
The octave.
Can assuage me. I will have you.
Yeah, so he like just literally, so even when it goes, not 1 man, nor not 10 men, nor 100 can assuage me, that is not about his rage at that point. That's him saying, I'm so empty. I have so little left in me that there's no amount of murder that will make me return to normal. Checking in again to make sure people can hear things. Yeah, that's some dramatic switching. It is. Okay. Yeah. So George Hearn's over the top rage, all rage, without as much despair. I mean, he's like telling the story that he's telling the story that someone else, he's telling the story that the foop turns completely into rage alone, without the despair.
And I will get him back even as he gloats. In the meantime, I'll practice on less honorable throats.
And the very last line, and my Lucy lies in ashes, is the one where all three performers really do remember, oh, right, this is the despair part, not the rage part.
And my Lucy lies in ashes, and I'll never see my girl again. But the work waits.
Yeah, that's bananas. The work waits. He straight goes from despair to the ragiest of the rage. And then of course I want to end on the very ending should be Josh Groban's, because Josh is the only one who makes this ending feel the correct way I think that it should.
Back even as he gloats.
There we go. Okay. I'm going to start playing it and then...
In the meantime, I'll practice on less honorable throats. And my Lucy lies in ashes, and I'll never see my girl again. But the work waits. I'm alive at last, and I'm full of joy.
So look at a thing that happens in the score. This is the only time I'm going to get real nitty gritty about actual pitches, but I think it's important to talk about the fact that we have just come from we are keening again. So just like the first one, Lucy lies in ashes, and I'll never see my girl again, but the work waits. So when the work waits, that's noted here as spoken, but it's a D and a C sharp, and you can notice that there's a D and a C sharp in the accompaniment, yeah? And then we go live at last. This is a D. And this is a D also, but this is a D sharp. Live at last against, so hold on, I've got my keyboard here. He goes, I'm alive, live at last, but in the accompaniment it's sorry, here's the D sharp. It's this trill between D sharp and E sharp. Live at last. It's these two notes that are right next to each other in the accompaniment, trilling back and forth, and he's on this one. Live at last, live. And it does not, it's dissonant. In fact, this kind of you've got 3 Ds right here. You've got this trill between the D and the D sharp and E, with a D sharp and E here. So you've got 2 D sharps and 2 E's and a D natural, right? So it's pretty clear that whatever Sweeny is doing up here with his D natural, down here in the accompaniment, the orchestra. Oh, I should probably explain this, that in music analysis, especially when you're talking about musical theater and opera, the accompaniment, the stuff that, in this case, piano or orchestra does, generally it's kind of an assumed reality that the orchestra is the environment, is possibly the mind or body or emotional state of the person who's singing. And the singer is kind of the prefrontal cortex decisions kind of thing. So whatever's going around in the environment or in Sweeney's mind/body, it's got D sharps. And he is a half step below that on D natural. Everything he's doing does not fit with what's going on here. And here we have again full of with again another D natural against a D sharp. And then look at the key signature here. I just want to say for this whole page, we have had one sharp in the key signature, which means that every time we get to that note, we play the half step up from that version of it. And that's what we have had the whole time. Are there any Fs? Are there any Fs on the page? Are there any Fs on the page? There are no Fs on the page. So we've got that key signature, but we're not using it. Because why would we? Why would we be in the key that we've indicated? That's for peasants. Key signatures are for peasants. Tonality is for peasants. Oh, that's a joke. I'm being silly. Anyway, we've got D sharp against D natural, and then we've got an F natural. Not F sharp as in the key signature, not this, but F natural. A half step below the thing it's going to be, a note that is not, that we haven't even had the whole page, a note that doesn't belong at all. It is, in fact, like being and shifting into a completely different key, and when we resolve, he's still holding this F natural. Look what's in the accompaniment, an F sharp and an F natural. There's a name for this. I'm sorry, my handwriting's so bad. Relation. It's called a cross relation. When you have the same letter of pitch in a measure that also has a chromatic sign in the same measure, so we have an F and an F sharp. If we had an F flat or an F double flat or whatever, those would also be cross relations. But we've got an F natural and an F sharp against each other. That's called a cross relation. And the only reason you would use that is if something totally bananas is going on. That's not a thing that people do very much. That is not a thing that composers handle. That is not a thing that is allowed. That's breaking so many rules of musical theater that it can only be explained by how unhinged, how unstable Sondheim wanted Sweeny to sound in this way. Yeah, and we all deserve to die. They all do. I'm just... when I am in the state of frustrated rage, about to flip over into hopeless, helpless despair, we all deserve to die, is in my head as like a cue to explain how this feels. Another playful version I had of this in my real life was a song I would sing in grad school that went like this. I hate everyone and everything. And when I sang that in front of Emily at her house while she was making me coffee, she was like, hey. So I added, I hate everyone and everything except the ones who bring me coffee. And that was such a, yeah, that was an improvement, because that's like real how that happened. So the sheet music is like, I'm full of joy. And we're supposed to be like, hey, but I don't believe you. Yeah, 100%. Which, I mean, of course. And every performance Josh Groban, Johnny Depp, George Hearn, Michael Chervis, Andrew Tveit, who else have I heard do this? All of the performances are ecstatic at the end in it's not joy, it's mania. It's banana pants. So, I also want to acknowledge that the different ways of experiencing foop, I, of course, relate to George Hearn's performance the most. George Hearn ends with banana pants, with just, it's not beautiful or compelling the way it was for Josh Groban, that we're like, oh, you're just singing the wrong note, but you're committed.
I'm alive at last.
Oh, no, you're
and
not.
I'm full of joy.
Yeah, and they all like throw their arms in the air. Yeah. He's clearly not full of joy. Also, the reason I played Josh Groban's, because Josh Groban is the only one who nails the note without very obvious to me auto-tune. Yeah. So, the way each performance of Sweeny Todd changes the depiction of foop, this oscillation between frustrated rage and hopeless, helpless despair. And George Hearn has shown us like probably the farthest, most manic depressive, like truly unhinged experience of it. And then we get Johnny Depp's rather more subdued version of it. It's much more intellectual, happening in his mind. He doesn't sell it with his body or his voice. The music does a lot of the heavy lifting, and then he's sort of like prevented as an actor from performing the whole thing. Because of all the cinematography. And then we have beautiful, beautiful Josh Groban's voice, and he performs like a recitalist. Now, this is a cast recording, so this is not how he would. I'm sure there are differences between what he would do on stage, but it's quite in the middle in terms of like the rage. He doesn't go as far as George Hearn, but he definitely goes further than Johnny Depp's lack of musical training allows him. One of the reasons you get formal training as a singer is to expand your expressive range. You can sound angrier and more full of despair because you have access to that part of your voice. That's why training works so well and is so effective and helpful for people who want to sing. Yeah. So when we get to a point where our goal of living in a just society that is not a corrupt judicial system, we need to set a goal that's soon certain, specific, concrete, positive, and personal. And spoiler alert for Sweeny Todd, when your goal to deal with that is to murder someone in the system, that does not work out. And if you want to know what I think Mrs. Lovett has to do with all that, I think Mrs. Lovett is his little monitor. She's setting the goals. She's the one who really like tells him, here's what you should be doing, and here's how hard you should be working at it. And it conflicts with his experience. And I think when his experience conflicts with what he's being told by his little monitor, that contributes to his frustration and rage and subsequent despair. I think Mrs. Lovett's his little monitor. She plays a lot of roles. She's, but I think that's one of the things that's going on. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say today. And I know that it was technically like all like over the place, but I really wanted to try and like show you the score, because I watched a lot of videos of people breaking down this song thinking I would just be like explaining it to Emily for a podcast or something. And I was like, nobody is talking about this detailed, like the cross relations, the literal like changes in meter and tempo, the expressive markings that Sondheim put in the score. Dolce cantabile for I will have vengeance. So I did the thing. And now I have a setup in OBS that will let me stream for things. And it took longer than I intended it to, because things go wrong sometimes. But so maybe I'll be able to do more fun things in the future, or maybe it's just this one time, and yeah, so we'll see. So anyway, it was lovely being a person in the world with you all, and I hope next time you feel frustrated rage and hopeless, helpless despair, you can know you're not alone, that Stephen Sondheim knew exactly what that felt like, and you can listen to what he expresses, and you can be like, oh, Stephen, you've seen me. You've seen into my heart, and you know me, and I know I'm not alone, because you wrote this down in a score to sound exactly the way I feel right now, so I must not be alone in my suffering, which is one of the reasons art is so great. Okay, my voice is given out, and my body says, go lay down, Amelia, so I'm going to do that. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye.